Hello, and welcome back to Rooted at Badger Rock's virtual workshop series. We are here out in the garden today. We're going to be doing a little bit of foraging, a little bit of getting some wild produce from our garden. Today we're going to be making purslane pickles, actually, or pickled purslane. Another variation on the pickles. We're going to be using a brine today. We're going to be using you can use white vinegar, or we have apple cider vinegar as well. But yeah, much like a regular pickle, it's going to have a nice sour taste to it. But with the purslane, it'll kind of add a little bit of extra, I don't know, a little extra sweetness to it. Purslane can be kind of bitter. And yeah, sometimes you just want a little bit extra sweetness. We'll add some extra seasonings or herbs into it as well. Add a little extra flavor. But yeah, it's a very simple process, very easy. You can find it right in our garden. Purslane loves to grow everywhere. A lot of people see it as an invasive weed, which it kind of does smother a lot of stuff. It really grows quick, but it has a lot of really good nutrients in it, and it actually is a really good food to eat, a wild forage food to eat, actually. So we're going to be making our pickles here, and just to get things started, I just want to get a pickle brine going right away, just to get it going, and then we'll actually go harvest some purslane over here in our hoop house. And yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about it, and then we'll get our pickling process going. But just to start, to make our brine first off, we'll get a pot. We're going to start with either one of your choice of vinegars. So we have white distilled vinegar, apple cider vinegar. I think we're going to go with apple cider vinegar today. Just a little added sweetness, a little added flavor as well. So this will be the base of it. We'll do about 1.5 cups. So here we go. We got 1 cup. We got this 1/4 cup. It's about just enough. And then we also want equal parts water to that. So I'll do another cup of water. And about 1/2 cup of water as well. That's about half. So we got our base there. And then we're going to add some pickling salt. A little bit different salts. We're going to add sugar as well. So we're going to do a 2-to-1 sugar salt ratio. So we'll do 1 tablespoon of salt. Just a tablespoon in there. And then we got our sugar. We'll do 2 tablespoons of that. And this amount of brine could make probably like a quart-sized jar. Today we're just going to be using a pint jar. But so you could probably make 2 pint jars worth all of this brine that we're making today. Yeah. That's there. That looks about good. Give this a quick mix. So we have our brine made right here. So we got vinegar, water, pickling salt, and sugar. So we're just going to take this, put it on our burner. Get that cranking up. All right. And while this is heating up, we're going to want to get this to a boil when we actually make our pickles. So this will take a second. So we got a little bit of time. Let's go forage some purslane, actually. So I'll take this. I'll put this stuff in here. So we'll come over to our garden beds over here. So you can see we have our hoop house here. We're growing collard greens over here, slicer tomatoes, and then we have a whole row of different kinds of potatoes over there. But the star of our show today is actually right here within our pathway. So, like I said, a lot of people see purslane as an invasive weed, and I do admit it does grow everywhere. It doesn't grow very fast, and it can be kind of smothering to a lot of your plants you have in the garden. But as I was saying before, like a lot of weeds in our garden, they're actually edible a lot of times, or a lot of the weeds are edible. And this is one example right here. So purslane, you can kind of tell it's got these long kind of brownish, greenish stems. They're kind of woody. And they have these leaves that are really bright green. They're really kind of thick, and they're succulent-like. So they have a lot of moisture in them, a lot of water. So they're really good for water retention. And if you're just growing purslane just to harvest it, you can actually just take some pruners or some scissors. You can just cut them at the base, and then they'll keep growing if you want to keep growing them. But if you're just foraging them, but you're also trying to get the weeds out, clear out some of your garden bed, you can just pull them right out from the roots. So there we go. Get your purslane, and then all you'd want to do is take some scissors. You'd snip off the roots, kind of separate them a little bit, and just make sure you give them a good rinsing, because since they're really low to the ground, they tend to get covered in dirt a little bit. But yeah, that's the basic ways for foraging, gathering your purslane. Just some little tidbits about this plant. It's, like I said, it's kind of like a succulent almost, so there's a lot of moisture in here. But along with the water content, it's also packed with a lot of nutrients. So purslane's actually got one of the highest land-based contents of what is it? Omega-3 fatty acids. So normally you'd have to find omega-3 fatty acids in fish, but there are in some plants, and purslane is actually one of the highest contents for omega-3 fatty acids. So it's really good for your heart and just good for your overall health. There's also a lot of vitamins in here. There's vitamin A, vitamin C, as well as minerals. There's magnesium, calcium, iron, a few other minerals as well, but just chock full of different kinds of nutrients and minerals. It's almost like a superfood. People kind of pass this up all the time, so you never really think about it. But we'll gather just a little bit more. Like I said, it grows everywhere, so we're abundant in purslane. Another couple of uses for this, people like to put it on their salads. Fresh salad, again, adds a little bit more depth, a little bit of the fatty acids in it, so it's good for us. Yeah, we'll take our purslane over here. Let's make sure we get any of the other weeds that aren't purslane in there. So this is that one. We'll get our other zone over here. Yep. Again, so this is the stuff I just harvested. Again, you'd want to remove the roots, clean it off, rinse it off as best you can just to get the dirt off. And over here, I got some purslane I just harvested right before. I already washed it off, rinsed it off, took off all the roots and everything, so we're good to go. So now we're going to prepare our pickling, or our purslane. So we got our jars here. These are new jars, or at least I'm pretty sure these are new jars. But you always want to make sure you sterilize your jars first, make sure they're nice and clean. You're not using dirty jars or dirty lids before you pickle. And for this one, we're going to throw some garlic in there. So you can keep it up, keep a whole piece of garlic, just make sure you take the peel out or peel it. So just take this up. I'll just drop it right in the bottom. I like to add a little bit of spice to mine. So we got some red chili flakes here. Let's add a small handful, maybe like a teaspoon, tablespoon or so. And then we also got some fronds of dill, fresh from our garden as well. So we'll throw some dill in there as well. And then I think that's all I have for spices. But if you want, you can also use like mustard seeds, coriander seeds, fennel. Yeah, any kind of other herbs or spices that you like to use, allspice, whatever it may be. You can just add it into here, add it on the bottom. And then just to make our purslane fit a little better, I think I'm going to cut it just like in half or so. So we got our knife here. Split these in half. Let's go right down the middle. Alright. And we're going to try to pack it pretty tight. Nice and full. Still enough so that we have room on the top. We have a little bit of headspace as well. Pack that in right there. This looks like a good one. Alright, pretty good. Alright, I can see our brine's starting to come to a boil. I can see some bubbles start to happening. Alright. I'll pack this in just a little bit more. Here we go. Alright, so there's our packed purslane in our jar. Again, you want to leave a little bit of headspace at the top when we put our brine in. Got all of our spices and garlic on the bottom. And I'm going to give this one last little stir just to make sure. Alright. So I think we're good enough. I see some bubbles in there, so I'll take it that we're boiling right now. And I always like to use a funnel just to make sure we don't spill out anything over. We want to keep the lid of the jar clean as well. And then we're just going to take our brine, we're just going to pour it over. Again, making sure we leave just enough, maybe like a ½ inch worth on the top for the headspace. You can go just a tiny bit more. There we go. Turn this off. Alright, just want to make sure your purslane is completely submerged in your brine. Let's kind of put these in a little extra. There we go. All right. And let me see if I have a napkin. Trusty bandana. Let's do a little wipe on the top. Just make sure we get the moisture off there so we get a good seal on the lid. Good seal. Ring on. Whew, it's warm. Alright, and then you don't want to put it on too tight, but just tight enough so that it stays sealed. And there you have it. Here's our pickle jar of purslane. And you're going to want to let this sit for about maybe 3 days or so, 3 days to a week in the fridge, just to let it settle and for all the vinegar to really soak into the purslane and all the other herbs to get submerged into it. But yeah, give it about 3 days or so in the fridge, and you'll have some fresh pickled purslane to try, packed with nutrients, minerals, good fatty acids for you, and it's completely free. It's available right here in our garden, almost everywhere. So that about does it for this edition of our Rooted Badger Rocks virtual workshop series, our gardening series for today. Just want to say thank you, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week with another edition. So see you later.